Hi, my name is Brandon Rayner, and I play trombone in the rock band Ruin the Night. We're recording this July 11th, 2020, just days away from Boston joining the rest of Massachusetts, aside from Somerville, moving forward with phase 3 of reopening, with indoor and outdoor events of up to 50 participants being permissible. Now, Ruin the Night does not have any plans, nor do we intend on playing a show for quite some time. However, it is nice to see steady forward progress with the reopening process for when the time comes. I'm also very happy to report that the band has begun a new phase of our reopening, if you will, having started the demoing phase of the pre-production process to creating our debut album. As we documented and posted on our website last week, ruinthenight.com, Chris Duggan has taken it upon himself to acquire all the tools necessary to multi-track record the band. We're also doing it in sectionals, so we are able to be socially distant while doing so. All these efforts are being made in part to make life for my guest less stressful for when the time comes to record our album. She was the engineer for the song Voices, also featured on our website, and we're expecting her to do the same quality job she did then, again. Grace Reeder, thanks for taking the time.
Hello.
So for someone that might not know, what is the job of an engineer?
So my job is, little assistant engineer there. My job as an engineer is to take all the sound sources of a band and to, I'm gonna put them away.
No, that's okay. I have a cat that's upstairs resting right now. He goes outside at night and then comes in. So.
Oh yeah, no, he's a very demanding boy whenever I'm up here because the dog is downstairs and the cat's upstairs, so I have to switch. They can't be together, so I have to switch my time between the two of them. So.
I think we're going to be introducing a guinea pig into our household. I think next week.
Ooh.
So we'll see how that goes with the cat.
Oh. Okay, anyway, so yeah, my job as an engineer is to take all the sound sources of a band. So drums, bass, guitar, trombone, trumpet, vocals, and take all the individual sound sources, record them, capture them, and then mix them into one piece. So whether I'm doing it in a live setting or a studio setting, my job is to take all of the instruments and then make them sound cohesive together in a musical and creative way. So I'm kind of the interpreter. I consider being an engineer the interpreter of raw data. So you get the raw data of a kick drum, snare drum, vocal, and then you craft it, kind of cook it, season it, and then make it into a cohesive piece. So yeah, I think
that's good. I like that, interpreter of raw data. I've never heard that before. I think that's an excellent way to put what you do.
Yeah, and I also look at it as in older classical music. You used to have the conductor for the orchestra. And the conductor would bring up certain string sections or down certain horn sections. And I look at, in the modern way with rock music, an engineer is kind of like the conductor for a band, but using it through the technical aspect. And I also kind of look at it because the conductor looks at the band and the audio engineer, looks at the band. So rather than, doing this, I do this, so.
It's funny because back in the day, there was no way to record. This is such a modern part of the puzzle. It's only been how long has modern recording existed? Not even 100.
It's been a little over 100 years. It started with wax recording with a big old gramophone, and if you had just the big old gramophone and the wax cylinder. And if you wanted somebody to go up and then, the ensemble would sit there. And if you wanted something to go up or down, you would ask the person to play louder or quieter. You'd ask them to move. And now that, that was the only microphone and also speaker. And now that with modern recording and modern live engineering, you mic up every source and you get, the waveforms or raw data or music from each source, and then you mix it accordingly with whichever console you're using or mic pre's you're using or DAW you're using. So, and the cool thing with modern recording is like you can do everything separately, which in the time now is more necessary to create music than it kind of ever was, you know, having everybody play separately.
Do you think it's necessary? Or do you sometimes feel that it's like overkill in a way? Like,
oh, it's over. I think it can be overkill. It also depends on like what you're going for, because like if you're trying to do like a raw band and get like a raw musical more live performance, you're obviously going to capture that in a studio setting with everybody playing in the room. I prefer having everybody play as live as possible.
Yeah.
But that's just because of the kind of music I enjoy. I like capture, and because I'm mostly a live sound engineer, I always like capturing the live performance.
Right. Well, it's crazy that I mean, it's been almost a year since we first met. We only met once in the studio to do that Voices song, which is almost a year ago now. How are we going to transfer some of that knowledge from doing that one song to a more broader scope album?
Yeah, well, that song Voices, it was fun. It was August of last year.
Right.
Dave tattooed me earlier that day, and then we went into the studio. So that was like what I call a full rock and roll day. And yeah, that was fun because it was a cool session because it was kind of like a first date with the band. Dave and I worked together the year prior on a record with this guy, Lawrence Trailer, and he was the drummer on that. So I had worked with Dave before. So having that, we went in and we just did, him and Duggan just did drums and bass, and then we overdubbed on top of that. I enjoyed that session a lot because we had Chip play the Rhodes, and the only reason we did that is because the Rhodes just happened to be set up in the room, and listening to the song, we were like, oh, this like a Rhodes would actually be like kind of cool as like the keyboard part on this. And we got that going, and we just kind of fleshed it. We fleshed a whole song and like just stacked a whole song in a day, which I always like doing that. It's fun because like you start the day with nothing and you end with a full product. So that was kind of, or you know, a full recording. So I enjoyed that session.
We're not going to be able to do what we want to do without you. So, I mean, I'm excited to get all these demos kind of redone and then get back in the studio and record them with you. And, you know, I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I listened to some of the demos, like the phone demos that I got sent back in April. And I think the span of songs you guys have, I think we'll be able to like create a lot of cool different vibes for like the final record, you know, and like get a lot of different sounds, you know. What do you want for like the ultimate like sound of the record for you?
Yeah, I'm just a trombone player, you know. I just want to play horns as best I can with together with McCool. And just be in tune with him. And I really got to start getting to work on because it's been a long time since I've played horn too. So I got to get back into shape with that. And I definitely look forward to the process. And I'm happy that it's, like I said, it's moving forward. It's slow, but I think I think we're moving forward in a positive. It's slow, but it's steady moving forward. So
yeah, it'll be slow at first, but then like once you get going, it's like anything, it'll just you get the momentum going to go up, you know.
You grew up in Hingham?
Yep, Hingham. In high school, I didn't really I started playing guitar when I was like, I think like 8th grade, 9th grade, I got a guitar. And I always just like played on my own. My parents were very much like wanted me to do sports, and like I did drama, like I did like tech crew and drama, and I did like swim team.
Sports.
Yeah, like I did swimming and lacrosse and like more
cool.
like active stuff, and then I did drama club, and then I was very active with my academics. So like I never played in a band in high school, and I also worked at Papagino's.
Nice.
Yeah, so I kind of just listened a lot. And when I loved listening because I had a lot of teen angst, as you do. And when I would listen to music, I would feel like I wasn't like the only one experiencing the emotions I was experiencing. I felt like connected to a bigger thing, and I started going to concerts, to shows. And as long as I got on honor roll, I was like allowed to go to one concert like a term, no matter like what day of the week it was. So I got really good grades, and then would just like save up and go to the Lamb of God concert, or go to. I was really into metal when I was younger, and classic rock and stuff like that.
You started like in school. That's where you like started kind of recording. Is when
Yeah,
you.
I didn't start until school.
Did you feel that maybe that was like to your advantage a little bit?
I just was a completely fresh slate. I had like no like accrued like knowledge from just kind of hacking at it on your own.
Right. Because if you're doing it on your own, you can. I'd imagine you kind of can learn like bad habits and things like that, right? So it might be good.
Yeah, like I knew, like as I was learning how to record, I also learned the science of how sound works, how acoustics work, how gain staging works, how digital audio works. Like I always, like as I was learning how to record, I also learned the technical theory behind it. So I learned all of that like as I was learning how to record. So yeah, it was very much from academic learning. So because I did 5 years of college. So
yeah.
Yeah, and in school in UMass Lowell, I was like a studio supervisor. So I was like very hands-on with students. Like if there was a problem in the studio on their session, like I would go help them figure it out, reverse engineer the problems that they had. When I'd get a call in the middle of the night asking why does my song sound like Chipmunks, and they had the tape vary speed at the wrong thing, and just things like that. I started interning at Q Division for my college internship in September of 2014. And I've been at Q ever since.
You're part of the live music infrastructure. I mean, maybe even more so than the bands, the bands are in a way, because you're the gateway between whatever audio needs to be presented and the crowd that's experiencing it, All that's on hold now with coronavirus and some of the music venues like the one you mentioned, or I don't know if we talked about Great Scott yet, but I think you've mentioned it. Yeah, there you go. Dan wore the shirt.
Dan had his. I was like, oh, I'm gonna just wear the same thing.
I'm from New Hampshire. Like I haven't really been part of the Boston music scene. I mean, I played in a band that was more. We didn't really play Boston much. If you know Boston, anybody knows Boston and the music community there, it's very tight knit. It's very
very.
Everybody kind of knows everybody. I'm kind of coming from it, kind of from an outsider's standpoint a little bit. I've been to Great Scott. I think once, but from everybody that talks about this venue, I mean, they just announced they're closing. They raised a lot of money to try to save it. I think it's still kind of in limbo, but you were the house engineer there for a long time?
I was one of the house engineers.
Right.
So
what did Great Scott mean like to you?
So Great Scott to me was like my chance to kind of be in a more intimate music setting. You always felt like you were comfortable there. Like if you wanted to get close to the band and see up close, like you could do that. If you wanted to hang back and have a conversation at the bar, you could do that without getting your ears blown off. And it was like 200, a little over 200 people could fit in the room, but it never like felt it, it still felt intimate, and I just loved working there.
Is the engineering community competitive, like in nature?
I look at it more as like an art expression as opposed to like being competitive. It's about like creating a sonic space or a vibe in the room based on what the artist is doing on stage. Yeah, I never really looked at it as a competitive thing.